The economy is not going to cause your business to fail. Your competition is not going to cause your business to fail. What is going to cause your business to fail is you as a team and you as individuals. Well, one of the biggest questions that we get is, how do you scale your business? And majority of our clients are actually within this space because they typically come to us wanting to scale their business. And then we get into other aspects, typically their personal performance, as well as how they structure their lives and themselves and being functional in all areas of their life. Because if you're functional as a CEO, if you're functional as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, that's how you scale your business. What ends up happening is a lot of people end up having an imbalanced life or an incomplete life, as they call it. And that impacts their ability to scale their business. Let me give you an example. If you are having struggles in your marriage, or if you are having struggles as a father, and you're feeling estranged from your children, or you're feeling like you're not spending enough time with your children, you're definitely not going to have the same motivation level to scale your business. Now, it's very, very important because a lot of guys have this backwards. They believe that the more time that they spend in business, the more successful they will be in life. And that's not necessarily the case. But I'm going to save that for another topic because this focus is primarily on your business. We will get into the personal aspect, I'm sure, in another episode here. But the main piece here is when you are looking to scale your business, the first aspect you need to take a look at is your leadership team. So whenever we come in, we do a full assessment of that business. And we start with the leadership team. We used to start with strategy, but we no longer start with strategy anymore because we found that strategy is a result of the people that you have on your management, leadership, or executive team. So for all extensive purposes, I'm going to say executive team. It could be a management team, depending on the size of your business. You could call it leadership team. But we're talking about the people that run your business, whether it's your chief operating officer, your CFO, or your VP of finance, whoever you have in place, your HR leader, to really help your business move forward. It's very, very important to identify how they work as a team, because how they work as a team is going to determine how likely you are to scale your business. Because dysfunctional teams do not scale businesses. Now, you can still grow as an organization. You can still grow your business. And we see that a lot. And it's a common saying, businesses will grow despite having all the dysfunctionality that they have in their business. But what ends up happening is that your growth rate is actually capped. And if you're trying to grow your business and you're realizing that it's only going at a pace and it's not the pace that you want it to be growing at, and you're not really scaling your revenues and your net profits, because that's even more important, because if you scale your business, your revenues, but you're not scaling your profits at the same or at a higher or better level, it's going to be really tough for you because you're going to be constraining your resources, especially yourself, because you're going to be putting in a lot of time and effort trying to grow your business, trying to scale it. And you're going to realize that at the end of the day, it's not putting that much more money in your pocket. Now, I know we're kind of going and skirting around the conversation here, which is the very first thing you need to do to scale your business, and that is working on your leadership team, as I talked about. So being a functional team is very important. What are the interactions like between each team member and the team as a whole? Are they growing as a team? Are they actually getting better as a team? Are they becoming more effective as a team? And here's one way to find out is to see how long it takes them to do their strategic planning exercise or a project that they've worked on previously. Now, if they are getting better at the things or the tasks or the projects, then you know that they're actually becoming better as a team. But if things are still going at the same pace, you're still roughly getting the same results or the same level of results, that means that they haven't advanced. And if your team hasn't advanced, that's a concern, because your team needs to advance at even a faster pace than your business. Yes, let me repeat this. Your team, your leadership team, needs to advance at a faster pace than your business growth. Because if your business growth continues at a pace higher than what your team is actually growing at or getting more effective at, what ends up happening is your business outgrows your people. Now, that can be a good thing, but it can also be a big challenge. And if you want to have a team that continuously leads your organization to success and growth, then you need to make sure that they are scaling their skills and effectiveness as a team faster than your organization is. Again, real practically, when we come in, we take a look at a leadership team. If they're not growing their skills as a team and being more effective, we know that that organization is going to have a major challenge at some point in time or another. Now, here's what ends up happening. And you know, as a business owner, as a CEO, how destructive, how challenging it can be when you lose a key team player, whether it's your chief operating officer, your HR lead, your finance lead, whoever it is, it can disrupt your team. One person changing on your team actually has a significant impact on your team if you don't have the right structure in place. And that's really what we get down to, is we take a look at okay, how well is this team performing? But what is the playbook that the executive team has? Do they even have a playbook? Nine out of 10 times, the executive team doesn't have a playbook. And these are rules of engagement. These are how you are going to operate as an executive team. What is, you can say, what are the good things that you can do? What are the not so good things? How are you going to challenge each other? How are you going to push and hold each other accountable? If you don't have these team norms that everybody has agreed on, yes, everybody has to agree on it because everybody has to play by the same playbook. And wow, that's a completely different topic right there, because I'm sure you may have a rogue executive leader or two or more. And yeah, they can be a positive for your team, but they can also cause a lot of challenges. But you want to make sure that for the most part, 80% of those team norms are being followed, because if those team norms are being followed, that means that your team is going to be more likely to work together better. If you are having challenges with your team members, always come back to your playbook. Have they taken a look? Have they been, you can say, involved in the process of creating that playbook? Because if they have not, most likely they're not going to be adhering to it. So take a look at that as well. Now, the number one thing that I take a look at when I assess executive leaders is, how are they growing their own individual skills? Like, are these people learners? Are they growers? Are they people that pride themselves on advancing their skill set, on their competency, on their intelligence, on their emotional intelligence? Because I see a lot of people being stagnant. And it could just be as simple as asking them a question. How often do you read? What do you like to read? What kind of conferences do you go to? What magazines do you have subscriptions to? Or any other platforms where you get your information from? And the other question, where do you get your information from? How do you get your industry stats or the latest information about your industry? Where do you get your news from? Do you keep up with the news? And I'm not talking about garbage news. I'm talking about economic news. I'm talking about business news. Because all of this information matters. If your leadership team is stagnant in their own individual growth, then your team as a whole is going to be not as growing to their full potential. I'm not going to say stagnant, because even if you have a person or two that is growing on the team, you can still bring the team up. But if your majority of your team members are not growing as individuals, then your team is not going to advance at the level that you want them to advance, at the pace that you want them to advance. And therefore, your business is not going to scale at the level that it should be. I want to continue to hammer this home, because a lot of people continue to think that it's their strategy, it's their operations, it's their marketing that is the key factor for them not scaling. Yes, that is a cause. All of those things are major causes, but they are not the root causes, because all of those things are a function of your leadership team. There is someone driving your marketing strategy. There is someone driving your operational strategy. There is someone driving your sales strategy. And if they are not aligned, if your teams are not aligned, if your departments and divisions are not aligned, which all comes back to the leadership team, then your sales team is not going to be working effectively with your marketing team. And your marketing team is not going to be working effectively with your finance team. And all of that is an ecosystem. Scaling your business comes down to an ecosystem, and that ecosystem starts with your leadership team. There are so many examples that I can share with you of dysfunctional leadership teams that have created silos within organizations, and the business itself, the product and services of the business and the fundamental principles of how the business operates, basically phenomenal. There's amazing businesses out there, but they just can't scale because people can't get on the same page at the leadership level. And unfortunately, that happens way, way too often. I came across one business. Actually, I've come across many, many businesses, but I want to share this one particular example where this business was actually struggling. It was failing. It was not going in the right direction that it should have. And when I talked to the leadership team, because they had brought me in after a number of consultants or advisors had come in and failed to really help them scale their business because they were focused on the strategy, I said one thing to them. I said, the economy is not going to cause your business to fail. Your competition is not going to cause your business to fail. What is going to cause your business to fail is you as a team and you as individuals. And you could see the looks on their faces at first because a lot of people don't want to take accountability for the results, especially at that level, because everybody's used to finger pointing. They always have to find the scapegoat. Like, yeah, these competitors came in and they took our market share, or the economy, we went through COVID and that's impacted our business. But when you take a look at some of their competitors have actually done better during COVID. So why did they do better? It's because they had a better leadership team. And I'm very blunt about that. Now, I don't throw that in people's faces and say, you suck. But it's very important for people to realize that they are the people that lead the ship. And your business is like a ship. You have to treat it like a ship. If you are on open waters and you are the captain as the CEO, which you are, and you have your first mate and you have your people running the ship, you have to make sure that everybody is running a tight ship. You have to make sure that they're working as a team, because not on the open waters, it's a lot more dangerous because people can literally die. But you're talking about people's livelihood within your business. You're talking about possibly even your client's livelihood or your customer's livelihood. So people need to be on the ball. They need to be getting their stuff together 110%. And that comes with being a team, and that comes with having very intelligent people on your executive leadership team, because they ultimately are the ones that create your strategy. If I find a fault in a strategy, if we analyze a business strategy and we find a fault, it's not a fault of the strategy. It's a challenge of the individuals who have put that strategy together, because the gap in the strategy is a direct result of the gap in the individual that helped put the strategy together, or that team as a whole, because they've missed something as a team. And that's okay. I'm talking about this from a constructive perspective. It's not all bad, because I'm sure you have a great executive or leadership team, but I can almost guarantee that there are some major gaps in your team members, in those individuals as well. Why do I know that? Because our studies, our research, and we've worked with over 4,000 individuals now at the professional level, at the business level. We know that the majority of individuals are not performing at their full potential. In fact, the majority of them, 9 out of 10 people, are performing at a level of under 70% of their true potential. Now, that doesn't mean that they're not giving it their all, right? People work long hours. They work 6 days a week, 7 days a week. They may work 10 hours a day, 12 hours a day, but that doesn't mean that they're effective and productive as they could be, and impactful as they could be. And that is what we measure, is the impact that your leadership team has. I'm going to continue to hammer this home for you. It's your people that drive the scaling of your business. It's you as the captain that drives the scaling of your business. If you don't have the right people, or if you have the right people, but they don't have the right skill set, that's something that you, as a CEO, are accountable to identify. It is strictly up to you. Now, if you have a really smart leadership team, they can identify the gaps themselves. They will do self-monitoring, but there's always a coach that needs to be involved. That's just part of the process, because even as a team, you might not see the gaps that you have. So a coach coming in can actually identify, well, these two people working together are making an awesome team, but when these two people work with this third person, there might be some conflict, or they're not ideal in terms of working together. How do you fix that as the CEO, as a business owner? That's up to you. Don't get shy. Don't get shy about holding your leadership team, your executive team to task. That is your job. Your job is to push them and inspire them to be better, to do better every single day. So that everything, all of the results come back to you. So if you are looking at your results and you're saying that your revenues are not growing at the rate that you want them to grow at, yes, you can identify key aspects of your business that are not working, but then you always have to come back to this. This is the most important thing for you, is who on my executive team is responsible, and how can this team address this challenge? Yes, it's up to the team. It's not just up to that individual. Because if you just place it on one individual, that person might feel like they're on an island on their own. And as soon as you do that, you alienate the person. But if they are a true team, they will work hard to make each other successful. That's another thing. Your team members, another way that you can identify whether they are effective or not, is to see how well they make each other, or what they do for each other to be successful. If they're just out for it on their own, that's not a good sign. But if they are actually going out of the way to help another person, if your sales leader is helping your marketing leader be successful and vice versa, you get a good team. That's something that you should be proud of, because that is a great, great sign. That will actually help you scale your business. So let me just bring it back and let me wrap it up here. When it comes to that core question, what is the first step that you need to take as a CEO to scale your business? That is to evaluate your leadership team. And two things in particular. A, do you have the right people on the team with the right skills? Are they continuing to grow as individuals? And then B, how do these team players, or how does this team work as a whole? How does it work as a unit? And is the unit getting better, getting more effective, more efficient, more creative, more innovative, and getting better at solving problems? If you can assess those two things, then everything else falls into place, including your strategy, including your profits, including your revenue growth. All of that is a direct result of having an awesome, strong leadership team. I hope this helps, and I wish you the very best.